Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about some of the new things that are going to come to Linux Mint. I generally don't make these types of videos because it's not going to be really long and it's going to be me talking for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. But this is going to be really interesting because I do have a lot of things to talk about for the upcoming Cinnamon, I think 6.7 that's going to roll around during Christmas with the new version of Linux Mint. So without wasting further time, let's dive right in. All right, so, I have a beautiful wallpaper and this is Linux Mint. That's the logo. I guess all of you surely know about this. So we do have a few interesting things to talk about. Now, the monthly news for May is actually really interesting. So I'm going to go through a lot of the things that they talk about. So the navigation speed in Nemo is the top improvement that they will be bringing to Cinnamon. So they significantly improved the response time and navigation performance in Nemo. In Cinnamon 6.6, which is the current version, if you just go over to this one and you type cinnamon version, or I don't know, if you just take a gander over there, it says Cinnamon 6.6.4. So in Cinnamon 6.6, a delay of 200 milliseconds was used between the moment you clicked on a directory and the moment this directory started to show its contents on the screen. Some directories loaded faster than others, but to guarantee a smooth looking render, each of them took at least 200 milliseconds. Now, 200 milliseconds might not seem like much, and to be honest, it never really bothered us before. I mean, I use Cinnamon and it never really occurred to me like it's fine, it's okay. Like if I just, if I just close this, open this up, it's okay, it's cool. I don't really care. But once you notice it, you can't unsee it. And to be very honest, I'm still not bothered by it after having read through this article. Now, so what they did is actually Cinnamon now uses a completely different rendering mode depending on the situation. It now renders some directories immediately and without delay, and it looks much more responsive than before. So that's something which is cool. I mean, if you prefer consistency of animation, 200 milliseconds is not that big of a deal. But for some of you guys who prefer speed, like if you are one of those people who actually turn up the animation speeds to 0.5x in your Android phone, you're going to be actually appreciative of what they have done. Now, the next thing is interactive search. Now, Nemo supports something called interactive search, right? So before we go into what's new, basically you open up Nemo, you have a search icon, you click on it, you search for some files. I don't know, let's just say DO. And if you search for DO, hit enter, and all the files with DO are going to be shown up. So documents and downloads. This is basic files. You can do a lot more stuff with regular expressions, containing, etc., case matching, and a lot of other things. Right? So in Cinnamon 6.6, a little entry appeared in the bottom right corner to show you what you typed, and the view jumped to the first result which matched your query. That's what happens right now. You could then use the arrow keys to jump from one result to the next. This feature was convenient, but its implementation didn't make it obvious or comfortable. Now, Nemo instead uses a filtered view. So if you type doc, for example, this is the computer from Clément, or Clem in short. So the founder of Linux Mint, basically. And if you type doc, as you can see, he has two folders or directories matching the DOC name, having a partial match. So the DOC part of both of these have been highlighted in bold, making it much more simpler and easier to see. I mean, none of the methods were bad. I mean, the previous method that you just saw, it isn't bad, but I guess the new method, it just reduces a little bit of that friction and makes your system or desktop feel a little bit more premium and a little bit of a faster feel, right? So that's pretty good. So when you start typing, the entry is now added to a search bar, which looks much more obvious than before and doesn't disappear when you stop typing or when you click away. The view gets filtered to only show the results so you can see them all at once and no longer need to jump without knowing where you're going to land. Okay, now the next thing is Cinnamon screenshots. So Cinnamon screenshots, as you can see, we do have a screenshot utility. I just go over here, screenshots. This is what it looks like, right? Let me just go ahead and minimize this. Take a screenshot. You can change the capture area from the entire screen, any particular window, or your selection. And you can have it show the pointer. You can have it show the pointer on the screen as well, or a window, or you can delay it by some seconds. Now, if we go to About Screenshot, as you can see, It says 41, which gives me the sense that this is probably from GNOME 41, I believe so. But Linux Mint is actually going to get its own version of the screenshot utility. So that's probably this one, right? So it's going to get its own screenshot tool, which is a complete redesign, like it's a new tool. So obviously somebody had to make it up from scratch. So let's just go through it. The first thing you'll notice when you get the new screenshot tool are these new features. So Windows screenshots can be taken with or without shadows. Screenshots can include all monitors or only a single one. Screenshots can now be cropped before getting copied or saved. These are huge improvements, right? Under the hood, many changes were made to make screenshots look cleaner and to accommodate the differences between the client-side decoration and the server-side decoration windows. In a CSD window or a client-side decoration window, the frame and shadow are rendered by the application or its toolkit, the GTK. In an SSD window, which is the server-side decoration, they are rendered by the Cinnamon window manager directly, also known as Muffin. So Muffin directly renders them when it is a server-side decoration, right? So in Cinnamon 6.6, there was no option to include the shadow when you took a screenshot. The screenshot interface had an option to remove the frame, but that wasn't useful. It was buggy, and it wasn't used by GNOME Screenshot. Although window screenshots only captured the window itself, some of the shadow was visible outside of the rounded corners, and that just makes it look amateur, unprofessional. I mean, it's okay you're seeing information, but for people like me who wants things to be perfect, I really don't appreciate shadows appearing in my screenshots like that. I do spend a meticulous amount of time fixing the corners in my screenshots in different operating systems that I use to make the screenshots look good, right? So the new interface allows Windows screenshots to be made with or without shadows. So as you can see, we do have beautiful shadows all around in CSD. So the client-side decoration and the server-side decorations as well. So this is the GTK shadow. This is the Muffin shadow recreated. And if you don't really want a shadow, which why wouldn't you, I guess? I mean, obviously there are applications where you would not want a shadow. You have cleaned up corners as well. If the screenshot tool requests a shadow, this is taken into account when capturing the window. In case of an SSD, which is the server-side decoration, the shadow is recreated the same way as it was in Muffin. If it doesn't, the corners are cleaned up to remove any semi-transparent pixels coming from the shadow. So this is a vast improvement. I mean, this is a small improvement to a lot of people, but to people like me who actually care enough about the small details, this is a pretty big thing. And I want my screenshots to look proper. I really don't want them to look messed up, right? So this is a huge deal for me. The next thing is dialogues. So Cinnamon is now able to use draggable clutter dialogues. They do stay on top, but don't lock the screen and can be moved around. This can be handy if you need to access something or click on an app before responding to the dialog. For example, if you want to log out and you have multiple windows, so that basically helps you where you can drag the log out dialog out of the way. If you have a document which is not saved, you want to save the document quickly before logging out. Maybe you accidentally hit log out. So it gives you a second chance to defense to save your document before it just gets thrown away into oblivion, right? So GTK dialogues don't look great, and that's something that they're looking into. There's a question dialog box, for instance. So this is the question dialog box asking, do you want to delete the item? Yes or no. Action cannot be undone. In this dialog, the buttons are stuck to each other, right? The title alignment is messy. The symbolic icons look great within the apps, but underwhelming in a dialog that requires the user's attention, right? So this is kind of drab, the question mark, right? Here is the same dialog box, but fixed. If you see, you have a big difference, right? You don't really have a cross, so you don't need the cross. If you say no, the dialog box goes away. If you say yes, the dialog box goes away. The question mark, instead of being black, completely black, it now looks blue, which is pretty good. The delete item, it was over to the right, which, I mean, it was not very pretty. So now it's pushed to the left and it looks much better this way. So it does catch the attention. I mean, you can say, oh, these are small details, but they do catch the attention and they put more emphasis on the message and they make it look a lot cleaner. So as a user, you are your attention is way more drawn to the dialog box that does need your action because you're about to delete an item, right? Anything can go wrong. You don't want to delete your vital stuff. Okay, so moving on, we do have theme improvements as well. So the colors and contrast were way improved in the dark version of the Mint Y theme. As you can see, it looks pretty good. Frames and scrolled areas, which were rectangular, are now slightly rounded like the buttons and combo boxes, which looks pretty good. And tree views and list views got rounded as well. As you can see, they look pretty good. There we have it. Looks cool. There is a subtle change, but it does make Mint Y or Minty slightly more polished. The Mint Y, Mint L, and Mint X themes, they also now use XSI icons for GTK dialogues. So when you ask a GTK application like XCD or Z, I believe, for instance, to open something, the file dialog box that now pops up uses the same icons as Nemo. So there are no discrepancies in the type of icons that you had before, right? So it's very consistent. As you can see, this one matches with this one. Very consistent. You also get network improvements. So Cinnamon received support for WPA3 and OWE, which is the opportunistic wireless encryption. You also have security updates and and project impersonations. They found severe flaws in XReader. The PDF could provide and run malicious code on your computer, which is totally not good. And you could just open it, click a link, and boom, all your data gone. This was a good opportunity to remind everyone to actually keep up to date with security updates. I mean, yeah, if you don't know how to get updates on your computer, just click on the start button. You see, you type updates and you will get your update manager. You open the update manager, and from here, it says welcome. You hit OK, it's going to give you a list of all the updates that are available. And even if you have an older version of the update manager, you're going to apply the update to the update manager itself, and then you're going to download the updates onto your computer. This is very important. And if you want to, you can also switch to a local mirror, which would make your downloads way faster. I'm in India right now, so I can change this to something like IIT Kharagpur or maybe IITM or other mirrors, which are going to be faster and closer to my location. For some reason, it didn't open yet. It says unreachable. I don't know why. Oh yeah, because my network timed out, but it says it is connected. I'm not really sure what's going on. Doesn't matter. You get the idea. Okay, so yeah, and also malicious people are making fake websites which impersonate FOSS applications. That's a total no-go. Their goal is money, obviously. When is it not? And so, for example, they're asking you to look at Warpinator and Hypnotics, for example, if they can't, they can take those down. If the host cares, they get hosted somewhere else. If we take the domain down, they get a new one. So yeah. So they do have had secure and centralized repositories since the 90s, since the very start of the Debian project. And he goes on to say that I know some of you guys are new to Linux and coming from Windows, and despite the fact that smartphones have centralized software stores for decades as well now, a lot of people who think that the best way to install something is to search and download it from Google or whatever, it really isn't. Like if you're on Linux, the best way is to go to the software manager and just download your stuff, be it Steam, Heroic, something like VS Code, I don't know, other stuff, whatever you want to download, you get it from the software manager, and that's the official way, that's the best way, that's the quickest way. You can download Flatpaks for updated software, you can download Debian packages, RPM if you're on Fedora, whatever you do, you download it from the software manager or the software center or whatever it is called on your distribution of choice, right? Going to the internet like we are accustomed to in Windows isn't really the best approach because you don't know. You can get anything, right? I know a lot of us Linux users, we are smart. We have been using Windows and Linux and even Mac OS for a long time. We know the risks associated with downloading software from the internet, right? And we know the signs to recognize if the download button is an ad or if it is a genuine download button, or if the page has ads or pop-ups. We use pop-up blockers, ad blockers, and mitigate our risks of downloading malware, right? But why go into all that trouble when you actually have a centralized software manager, a software repository from where you can download literally anything you ever wanted to, right? As you can see, you can even download an official version of WhatsApp, right, for the Linux desktop. Yeah, you could do a lot of things. You have Spotify, Google Earth, games, Sublime, Telegram, Calibre. What else do you need? So for any of your needs, you go to the software manager and you download your software. This is more akin to Apple just telling their users to stick to the App Store, even though app stores on macOS are not that full of good apps like Linux is. Linux is way ahead of macOS in this matter, and I use macOS daily. I am recording this video on a Mac Mini right now. I love Apple software and hardware, but that is a downside which we must recognize. And so, I mean, Linux is way ahead of Apple over here, right? So you have to download software from here. I'm not going to spend more time talking about this. You already got the point. This reduces your risk of actually getting malware on your computer. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, you have to be very careful. This is kind of a general advice, not really related to Linux Mint, but yeah, with the rise of AI, with the rise of security, I mean, securities were ever present, right? Security flaws. You always had hackers trying to hack your computer. So yeah, you have to be smart. You have to keep yourself up to date, and you have to be very, very good about how you use your computer, because you don't want malware or viruses on your precious data, right? So yeah, I think with that, we can come to the end of the video comfortably. So thank you. This was a very small video. I kind of dragged it on for too long, talking about advice for downloading software on your computer. But apart from that, this has been a good video, a good short video for me to talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm actually doing a new test ride on the new Mac Mini that I had. So this is the first video produced on Mac Mini using DaVinci Resolve. So yeah, that's cool for me. It's going to be a new step. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.